welcome back for another episode of Kentucky Esports Weekly, refreshed by Coca-Cola. I'm your host, Nathan Stevens. We're heading in towards the summer days, which will be upon us soon enough, if this spring ever makes up its mind about the weather. Hopefully it does. It can show itself to the door. But with summer comes a lot of video game announcements that are coming. We know that Xbox stuff and PS5 stuff is coming, and we got a lot of e-sporting events that are also on their way, both on and off UK's campus. So there have been quite a few esports events shuffled, put online, and even postponed, but there are still plenty of things going on. And as we certainly look forward to reporting all of them as they come through. So that said, let's get right to quick hitters. So starting things off, Capcom has announced Pro Tour Online 2020 kicking off on June 6th. Capcom announced the cancellation of all its offline events, which includes its Premier, Ranking, and World Warrior events. In their place, Capcom will be kicking off 18 online regional tournaments starting June 6th, which will head towards a main event, Capcom Cup 2020. So try saying that 5 times. It will feature each of the 18 tournament winners. And if that wasn't enough competition, the winner of last year's Capcom Cup in 2019, IDOM, will also qualify for the 2020 Cup, as well as at least one of the 31 finalists from the 2019 tournament who are going to be voted in by the community. Capcom appears to be falling in line with everybody else by moving tournaments online, which is great. The more esports, the merrier. Speaking of merry, Jono Nicholson at esportsinsider.com is reporting that Helix Esports has signed an exclusive agreement with Razer, which will make the peripherals manufacturer the official go-to for Helix. Razer makes some great quality products, even down to the mouse pad. Those mouse pads are pretty cool. They're very nice. I know. It's kind of geeky to say mouse pads are nice, but they are. Razer released a statement regarding the exclusive partnership by saying, "At Razer, we look for every opportunity to bring communities together to play and compete with one another on our best-in-class hardware. We're excited to work with Helix Esports to help create the most robust gaming centers in the world and bring players together in new ways under the banner of competition." I'm sure they definitely will improve Helix on the peripheral side of things. One of the things I actually own from Razer is an eGPU enclosure. I really enjoy it. It makes my MacBook actually work well when it comes to GPU requirements. Certainly makes After Effects very happy. But they do make good stuff. They really do. Shifting gears to racing. Fernando Alonso made his esports debut in Torque Esports, the Race All-Star Series. This past Saturday, professional F1 driver and the two-time F1 world champion, Fernando Alonso, made his debut online with Torque Esports. While his start was promising when he qualified to be fourth on the grid, his chances of glory soon were dashed due to 2 on-track incidents. Alonso isn't giving up so easily, though, as he will be returning online for a shot at the Legends Trophy, as well as other professional drivers joining him at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Memorial Day weekend. Very good stuff on professionals joining in for the esports fun. Staying with racing and shifting to NASCAR, we have a new segment we're trying out this week. Monon Rahman, our iRacing reporter and rep, is here to tell us about what is going on with iRacing this week. Take it away, Monon.
Hi everyone, my name is Monon, and as an engineer who works on race cars, I've always enjoyed playing racing games throughout my life. However, there's one title that always stood out to me in particular, and that's iRacing. iRacing is a subscription-based simulation racing game in which members worldwide can compete in official races in various series that replicate cars and tracks seen in the real world, such as in NASCAR, IMSA, and IndyCar. Recently, iRacing has also used their modern modeling technology to help bring back the past to the virtual world. A few months ago, NASCAR superstar Dale Earnhardt Jr. pitched an idea to bring back North Wilkesboro Speedway to the iRacing platform. North Wilkesboro was a former track on the NASCAR schedule, and while its last NASCAR race was held in 1996, the fanbase still regards it as one of the greatest short tracks to have been raced at. While the track amenities have been physically weathering away, Junior and iRacing thought it would be a great way to honor the track by preserving it virtually in the service. As a result, iRacing decided to take its scanning system down to North Wilkesboro in December 2019 and get the track processed for its system. This took a lot of work. In order for their laser to properly scan the track surface and details, the track had to be cleaned of dirt, debris, and other issues. After scanning the track and surroundings across dozens of hours, the racetrack was captured. However, more post-modeling needed to be done in order to recreate the buildings and surrounding textures that were destroyed or damaged as well. iRacing added another twist to their model too. They decided to recreate the track as it would be back in 1987. They did this not only to make the track feel more historic and relive that era, but also to coincide with the release of the Chevy Monte Carlo and Ford Thunderbird, two older gen NASCAR vehicles in which legends such as Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott competed in. The announcement of these cars coinciding with the track release last week was a pretty big surprise for the iRacing community, as many have wondered what these older cars would be like to have in the sim. iRacing's North Wilkesboro debuted on May 9th during the assumed finale of NASCAR's Pro Invitational iRacing series, in which current NASCAR racers competed at the track as a substitute to the racing hiatus caused by the COVID-19 situation. The track was just released to the public last week, with the Monte Carlo and Thunderbird cars coming out at a later date. It's definitely neat to see iRacing's modern laser scanning and vehicle modeling processes be used to really bring back history in such a way that players worldwide can enjoy. I know for sure that I'm definitely ready to turn some laps at North Wilkesboro myself.
Thank you again for that report, Monon. And that is all we have for you with Quick Hitters. Let's shift to industry news with Hailey and Tyler.
Hello, I'm Tyler Ralston.
And I'm Hailey Salyers.
And this is the week's industry news.
In our first story this week, let's talk about Sony's Ghost of Tsushima. Developer Sucker Punch Productions' Jason Connell commentates and guides viewers through the game's 18-minute trailer that was released in Sony's State of Play update. The gameplay-based trailer introduces the story's lead character of Jin Sakai and provides a look at the game's visuals and mechanics. The game offers a color-saturated look, a medieval Japanese setting, and a simplified heads-up display. Viewers are guided by environmental cues. As for the story, Jin can be an honorable samurai, or a dishonorable ghost. The form of the ghost provides Jin, and players, access to a ninja assassin toolkit. Players can explore the world of Tsushima this summer. Ghost of Tsushima is scheduled for release as a PlayStation 4 exclusive on July 17th.
In other game news, a new adventure on the Nintendo Switch has been revealed for their famous Italian plumber Mario. Paper Mario: The Origami King focuses on Mario saving a Princess Peach and her mushroom kingdom that is being folded and creased into origami under the influence of Ollie and his giant streamers. Not even Bowser is safe, with his army turned against him as folded soldiers, requiring him to team up with his lifelong nemesis alongside the Origami King's sister, Olivia. Combating paper-thin enemies in ring battles and solving puzzles with Mario's new 1000 Folds arms ability are just two parts of this new journey. The Origami King is set to release on July 17th, a relatively close release date, so Nintendo fans better be ready. Next, we have news that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, a fan-favorite classic released in 1999 and 2000 respectively, like many other titles with such legendary status, are getting a remaster. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1+2 aims to be a carefully crafted recreation of the original games, featuring many returning features, characters, and even songs. The remaster will, of course, contain updated visuals, but also add new challenges, multiplayer modes, and even improve upon the Create a Park feature with the ability to share your creations online. The developers have also explained that playing the two different games within the remake will unlock pieces for the Create a Park mode, providing a sense of progress between both titles. It has also been stated that the game will feature most of the original tracks, but some have been left out due to the unfortunate reality of licensing issues. The remake is set to release on September 4th on PS4, Xbox One, and the Epic Games Store for PC. And on last Wednesday, Epic Games released a video to show off their new Unreal Engine 5 technology, and it left quite an impression. Their demo, called Lumen in the Land of Nanite, features the new possibilities of incredibly detailed models and environments with 4K textures and stellar real-time lighting systems, as well as demonstrating recurring features such as the chaos physics or their Niagara visual effects system. According to Epic, the demo ran in real time on a PS5, which is perhaps a promising example of the future titles and has developers excited at all its prospects. If these systems work in practice as well as they did in demonstration, it could greatly assist in development costs and time, especially with their highlight for the ease of importing over 3D models from software such as ZBrush, or the power of their dynamic lighting to adapt to an environment, potentially removing the need for baked-in, which is essentially pre-made, lighting. Overall, if this is to be expected in later next-gen console releases, then perhaps gameplay will finally look like some of the mind-blowing CG cutscenes we are used to.
Finally, in Halo news, developer 343 Industries confirmed that Halo Infinite will appear in July's Xbox 2020 stream. However, the company did not say exactly what fans will see from the game. Gameplay footage is not guaranteed, but fans are still hopeful. Halo Infinite will be one of several first-party titles included in the event. The game is expected to be a success for the Xbox Series X with its debut later this year. The date for the July Xbox 2020 stream has not yet been announced. And that's all for industry news this week. Nathan, back to you.
Thank you, Hailey and Tyler. Usually this is where Ben Brad's going to give us a one-on-one interview with an industry specialist, analyst, somebody who's close to esports or just video games in general. And Ben will certainly return next week with a very good segment. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. But while we wait, we're going to try a new segment that will hopefully be a permanent placement in the show, or we'll have a permanent placement, rather. And will revolve around video game history, because a lot of people don't know much about video game history, but you should know a lot. The industry has had quite a life over the decades, from the early years with pinball, which stretches way back in the 1800s, to the first console built by Ralph Baer in the late 60s. It has traveled a long way to get to where we are now. Elias Conwell is going to take us back in video game history and maybe open your eyes to something you may not have known. Welcome to Replay Rewind.
Welcome, boys and girls, to History in 5 Minutes, or what I like to call High Five. In this segment, we're going to cover all sorts of history with video games and video game companies and their impact on the video game industry. Today we're going to be talking about Riot Games. Yes, that Riot Games, the creators of the worldwide phenomenon League of Legends. League of Legends has had over 80 million users playing their game. And guess what? It's all free. You can play the game right now if you download your computer and join the fun with your friends. Now that Riot is making new games such as Valorant, Legends of Runeterra, and Teamfight Tactics, many are wondering, what are their origins? How did they become so big in esports? How did it all start? That's what we're going to cover right now. League of Legends started with founders Brandon Beck and Mark Merrill, who became friends while at the University of Southern California, where they bonded over video games. Isn't that great? But they were frustrated because they felt game developers were not listening to the fans. Developers, they believed, moved from game to game way too fast, which usually meant leaving their fan base unheard. But they had a different idea. Instead of making game by game by game, they wanted to make a game that constantly evolved as the community grew. Initially, they took inspiration from Asian video game designers who were offering the game for free, but they charged money for additional perks. But that's not fun for anyone. Instead of doing the pay-to-win model, they decided they would not sell upgrades, but instead they would sell cool costumes so people can make their characters more personalized. One of the first people they recruited was Steve Feek, who was a developer on the multiplayer online battle arena game Dota All-Stars. As they refined League of Legends, they sold investors on the plan for a video game company rooted in e-commerce, which sounded good to investors, by the way. After 6 months of beta tests, Riot finally releases League of Legends as a free-to-play game on October 27th, 2009. What's cool is that Riot Games continued to develop on the game as players offered their feedback. The Riot Games developers would even participate in online forums to make adjustments based on said feedback. Now, what is League of Legends, you may ask? League of Legends is a multiplayer online battle arena, or MOBA for short. Essentially, it's 5 players versus 5 players, with the goal of destroying the enemy base, or the Nexus. There are 3 lanes, a top, middle, and a bottom lane, each with towers protecting their base. Each player has to destroy the towers to get closer and closer to the base. Now, between the lanes, there is a place called the jungle, which has a bunch of various creatures that will buff your team or buff you as you kill them. The real fun of the game comes from the characters. There are various types of characters, each with different and unique abilities. It is also fun to find each of the characters' matchups and team combinations in order to obtain victory. Lots of times players have to come up with a neat strategy in order to outwit the other team. As the game became more and more popular, teams started to develop and the strategies became more and more competitive, which developed into a nice esports league. Now, esports is a phenomenon that's fairly new, but is growing in popularity, and League of Legends is no different. At the League of Legends World Championship, 17,000 people showed up in attendance to watch just to see who comes out on top. But that's just the audience. There are 100 million people watching online on platforms such as Twitch, ESPN, and even YouTube. I don't know about you, but that broke a lot of records. To this day, Riot Games continues to be creative as they add more and more heroes to their ever-growing roster of League of Legends champions. They are also branching out and making other games such as Legends of Runeterra, which is a collectible card game, Teamfight Tactics, which is an auto battler, and Wild Rift, which is a mobile and console version of League of Legends. There are other games that have been announced, such as Project A, which is Valorant, which people can get the beta to right now, and Project L, a fighting game, which looks pretty interesting to me, and Project F, which is a MMO of all things. League of Legends have continued to branch out into their lore and history of Runeterra as they go into comic books created by Marvel, various animated shorts and music videos, such as the very popular KDA Pop Stars, as well as merchandise and action figures, even a tabletop board game. But all this aside, is one thing that Riot kept as their core values is that they wanted to hear the community's voice and keep the game available for anyone who's willing to play it. And that's all, guys. History in 5 minutes. So make sure you follow us and stay gaming, gamers.
We'll have more history for you in future Kentucky Esports Weekly episodes. But for now, what isn't history is Push to Talk with Nick Hughes and his group of ragtag video game analysts. Take it away, folks.
We're back. What's up? This is the panel.
What's up, guys?
We still don't have a real solid name for yet, but we're getting there. But right now, it's just all of us cool people. We got some cool stuff to start off with, some clickbaity titles. Did you guys know that this one cool feature is going to leave PCs in the dust? It's just an SSD. It's literally just a solid state drive.
And this is for the PlayStation 5, correct?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't even know what an SSD is. I'm so impressed. That sounds so high. Oh my
gosh, I know.
Sounds so futuristic.
What, an acronym? It must be super important.
Super disk.
Dude, I'm sure doesn't have an SSD.
I'm sure PCs will catch up and surpass here, in not too long.
No, yeah. They'll get there. They'll get there.
Yeah.
No, PCs can't catch up. PS5. My hand's off the screen because that's my hand's off the screen.
True.
For those of you watching who don't know, PCs have had SSDs for I don't know how long.
Eons.
And
centuries.
Yeah, we hold our viewers to a higher standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the tech demo?
But it is cool. Yeah, the tech demo is insane, I will say. It looks really
that's
good.
true. That's fair.
Also, I heard it's not even an actual game.
Yeah. But imagine if it was an actual game. And it looked like that.
Yeah, I saw a demo of Unreal Engine 5 just being played on PS5 and it was insane.
Yeah. I didn't watch the video,
amazing.
But I saw some video and it was like Epic Games or whatever was saying that a lot of the tech stuff that they had going on in Unreal Engine 5 was thanks to the PS5. I don't know exactly what that means, but it is impressive, I will say.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It looked really good.
Jude, I know you're big into Rainbow Six Siege, or have been in the past at least.
Yeah, that was
good at it.
Sure.
Ubisoft is suing Google and Apple for a direct ripoff. You've looked at at least some images of it, right?
Yeah, I looked at a video of it, and it's called Area F2. If people don't know, I don't know how long it's going to be up. I imagine it'll probably be down maybe by the time that this gets posted. Look it up. It's just a blatant ripoff. It's
literally a copy paste. It's a clone. It's absurd. And it's usually smaller parties, smaller rando studios that just directly rip off games, but this is bad.
Yeah.
Bad they thought they could.
I feel bad for Apple and Google because, I bet they just didn't realize, and then it just
Right,
App
but
Store,
also
so.
that's not going to put a dent in Apple or
Or
Google.
Google. Yeah,
So-
for sure. Yeah, it's fine.
Nothing lost there. Nothing lost there. We had one sick announcement this week that I'm personally really, really hyped for, and that is Paper Mario coming to Switch.
Yes.
What's the official title?
Origami King.
Origami King. I
Yeah.
really, really like the battle system. The circle
It looks pretty cool, honestly.
battle system looks
Yeah, it
cool.
looks pretty dope.
It looks interesting because, like origami is essentially turning paper into 3D objects,
Mhm.
and I'm assuming, is the Origami King the villain or is he helping Mario?
Don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Don't know.
Okay,
But
because I don't know if
it looks
'cause-
like it's got all the charm of previous Paper Mario installments, which is really exciting. Thousand Year Door on GameCube has got to be one of my favorite RPGs.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
Yes.
so good.
It's so good.
I said I never played it, but really quietly, so the viewers can hear it.
That's a title I'm personally really, really excited for. Party system's back. The battle system looks cool. It looks quirky and fun. And again, Elias is right. I love all the different takes they do on paper.
yeah,
Like the fact that origami,
Yeah.
it's just
I'm surprised they haven't done that sooner. But yeah,
Honestly,
Nintendo's
yeah.
got sick first party games.
Yeah.
Just so good.
You-
Also, speaking of new games, it's not new, but it's a blast from the past, and it's going to be it's going to look new-ish. It's only a remaster. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1
Yeah,
and
that's
2.
so cool.
Oh,
That's so
what?
hype, honestly, yeah.
So sick.
As long as they don't mess that up, it'll be really good.
I mean, okay, so like it's just a remaster, right? So we're just going to be
Yeah.
playing the original game.
Yeah.
But-
mhm.
But I did read that they did not get the rights to all the music
Yeah,
in the
that's
original.
sad.
Oh.
Which does suck because the music is an enormous part of Tony Hawk games,
Yeah,
in my
really,
opinion.
yeah, absolutely.
Hands down. Like
Like, I can't
Mario.
imagine playing American Wasteland and not having that exact soundtrack.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's like half the reasons why I know that they've got a lot of like GTA mobile and like Fire TV ports, and they don't have like half the soundtrack. And at that point, what's the point? Like
Exactly.
it's not the same game, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
Honestly.
it's important.
Mhm.
Yeah. Speaking of, did you say GTA, Jude?
Yeah.
Go get it. Grand Theft Auto 5 is free now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, literally
21st.
free, no strings
And the
attached.
website's probably broken.
On Epic Games. Yeah. When it went free, Epic Games launcher broke. Like, it went down due to
It was
ridiculous load
insane.
for a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit.
crazy.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
with Tony Hawk though, I was talking to one of my friends. Do you think they're gonna have Spider-Man as a secret character again? Are you
Dude, what if those rights change now because of the changing of hands of that?
Oh,
yeah.
You know?
Then they just gotta make
Yeah.
a Hulk
I would
instead.
be surprised.
So whatever, I'm a Chad Muska main anyways.
Nice. I don't know what that means, but I believe you.
You guys see that Cyberpunk? They're doing like a Mad Max thing with their like vehicle.
No.
Explain that. What does that mean?
Yeah. What does that
So
mean?
it's like, I think it's like the anniversary of Mad Max is coming up, and so they're putting one of the cars into Cyberpunk.
Cool.
As one of the
that's
gangs
nice
that are-
little-
The fact that they got Keanu for the trailer, and I mean he'll be in the game as well.
Yeah.
Leads me to believe they'll have some other really cool cameos.
Just pop
Like they
culture
wouldn't
stuff.
just throw us all they have at the get go with Keanu Reeves. Like they've got more they're sitting on. There's also more that I want to talk about with
Did you-
Cyberpunk, but we can't talk about it here.
Well, I want to say one thing. Have you seen the Cyberpunk soundtrack video they put out a long time ago? I'm just saying, Run the Jewels is in it, so I know that they're making music for it. So it's gonna be
RTJ.
Oh yeah.
RTJ in that game would be so cool. Will
Yeah.
be so cool. It sounds like.
RTJ4 coming out June 5th.
Oh, another thing I saw
This is
is
now a Run the Jewels hype panel.
Whoop whoop.
Bunches and
they're gonna
bunches.
come out with a new album.
What?
Run the Jewels.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I don't. Anyway, Clubhouse Games is also coming to Switch June 5th. Looking out for that. Wonderful 101 comes out May 19th.
When you say Wonderful 101, is it a new Wonderful 101 title?
No, it's just a remaster of the first.
Wasn't the Wonderful
no one-
101 a Switch
Wii U.
title?
Wii U.
Oh, it was
a
Wii U.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Nobody played it apparently. I hear it's really good. I don't know anything about it.
It always looked like something I would enjoy, but I never touched it.
Yeah. Did you have a Wii U?
So funny story, I did, but the only game I ever owned for it was Smash 4.
Smash. Yeah.
Yeah,
Literally,
honestly, that would be me.
like
I
not
didn't own the Wii
even
U
not
because I knew it.
exaggerating. That is it.
Yeah, that's probably the only game I would ever own.
All right, anyone want to rapid fire off something that's just on their mind about gaming, like right quick, because we are almost out of time. And
I did hear that I think it's rumor, but because of the 35th anniversary of Mario, they're going to start porting the old Mario games onto the Switch, like Sunshine, Galaxy, and
that I saw that drop a while ago, and I don't care what they do. I just want Super Mario and the Legend of the Seven Stars. I need Super Mario RPG to be ported on something remastered. I don't care. I need it. I need that game. There's no reason it's not on modern consoles. It's cool. We're going to leave on an angry note now.
Okay, cool.
Nintendo, make it happen.
Yeah, please.
Nintendo.
We have a lot of full Nintendo this panel
I know
here.
it.
So it's probably, you might want to do that.
Yeah, or else you're canceled, dude. We're going to cancel your whole company.
Cancel Nintendo.
It's time.
Buy an online
Sponsor
subscription.
us.
Yeah.
All right, sign off, everyone. Do your thing.
Peace out,
Stay
guys.
healthy. Wear a mask.
We got a finger
6
point.
feet.
We got a wave.
6 feet.
Got all
6 feet.
peace always.
6 feet.
6 feet.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. Nathan had to run. I think it was a bat phone kind of thing, but so he got called up. But we're going to wrap up the show with some trivia, so chat, get ready for that. I want to thank the Push to Talk crew and all of our reporters, especially Elias for the High Five segment and Monon for his iRacing segment. That was awesome. Before we get started with the chat, I have to defend some of our computer gamers. That PS5 SSD is really impressive. You can actually get those speeds today on a computer. You have to get a RAID card that supports NVMe drives. So what people should be talking about is that price point that you'll get the PS5 at. The RAID card and drives right now would cost you about $500 to $1,000. So super excited for that, and really excited to see that in the PS5. So are you guys ready for some questions? Normally we do this with Nathan and I do this, but Nathan couldn't be with us for the end of the show. So I am getting ready for question 1. And what game company invented the D-pad, and where did it first appear? So avid gamers should know your D-pad is your directional pad. Some people call it the digital pad. It typically looks like a cross or some sort of cross formation. What game company invented that? And let's see here. We've got some people in the chat. I see a Sega. That's not right. Oh, I see a correct answer. Club Penguin got Nintendo. And Ravenous Elf also Nintendo. It is Nintendo, but it might not be the Nintendo system that you thought. It was originally in the Nintendo Game & Watch Donkey Kong game. Now, these were, if you're ever familiar with Tiger Electronics games, there's something similar to that. And they were in these little handheld games that were kind of a fixed LCD. It wasn't like the games we know now that have all these different pixels. It just had drawings on an LCD. There were multiple versions. Some had 4 single dots instead of the cross D-pad that we know today. And other manufacturers like Sega and Sony modified that design. Most of these, the first ones were on like a ball mount that allowed you to kind of rotate so you couldn't hit 2 of the directions at the same time. And Sega put the ball on the controller side instead of the joystick, or instead of the pad side, or vice versa. To avoid patent infringement. So that was the first question. We got some right answers there in chat. Here we go with question 2. This one is very near and dear to my heart. RoboCop was just announced as a playable character in what game franchise? RoboCop from the 1987 movie. During my childhood, that was a surprisingly violent that advertised to children. And yes, we've got a correct answer. Let's see. That is Super African Saiyan. Mortal Kombat was just announced as a MK11 character. First appearance in video games was in 1988. Beat 'em up game. That game actually first came out on computers, like the Atari computer. Later came out for PC and the Apple computer. Later ported to the NES. So I'm really excited. We haven't really reported too much Mortal Kombat news here, but I am super stoked to see RoboCop in a Mortal Kombat game. So let's move on to questions 3. Oh, it is not Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. We had one. I would like to see RoboCop in that, though. Okay, question 3. Name 2 games credited with causing the creation of the ESRB. The ESRB is the ratings board for video games. And if you remember, back in the 90s, some of you may have been alive, some of you may not have been alive, but in the 90s, there were congressional hearings about video game violence, and it got blamed for all sorts of stuff. Name 2 of those games. There was a handful that were brought up. Oh, I see one correct answer. I see Grand Theft Auto was not one of the games. We have Mortal Kombat. We have a couple people with Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat was one of the games, that first edition. There were, I see another close one. It is not Wolfenstein, but there is another game very closely related to Wolf. I know they're going to get it. Quake Doom. So Doom was kind of unofficially credited. The 2 official games that the ESRB was really created from were Mortal Kombat and Night Trap. Those 2 games were actually referenced by Joe Lieberman in his congressional testimony. Some other games that I've seen referenced, but that have not that were not really in the record that I can find were Lethal Enforcers and Doom. Doom, of course, by id Software. Now Bethesda releasing those titles. But Mortal Kombat Night Trap was a game Nathan and I had discussed a little bit. It's a full motion video game. It's kind of a campy horror type game. But when I say campy, I really mean campy, where you have some sorority girls being stalked by aliens. That game really got Congress upset. So let's move on to question 4. Name the gaming service that in 2011 suffered extended downtime due to distributed denial of service attacks and a security intrusion. Now, this is a game service, so a game platform, if you will, that people connected to. And yes, very quickly, we have Luterac, PS Network, PSN. PSN, initially, members of the hacking group Anonymous were credited with the distributed denial of service attack. Later, some other hackers, we don't know if it was Anonymous, some people have posited it's LulzSec, or even potentially some state actors actually hacked the user database and got private PSN network user information. So that led to some extended downtime. PlayStation Network eventually offered its users some free games, but that was a pretty big deal in 2011. Okay, here is one. This one goes all the way back to the early 80s, but if you're a music person, you might get it as well. So MIDI, that's MIDI, is a communication standard used for music and many older computer games. What does MIDI stand for? So MIDI, it's first came about around 1982. Still used in music production today. And I remember when I was in, I believe, elementary school, we had somebody come with a digital drum set. And I I remember him telling us about MIDI, and he would record these little sequences, and he had just drum pads, and I thought it was the coolest thing. Can you imagine? I believe he played the Axel F song on his little setup. We were really impressed. And I am drawing a blank. Oh, we have a correct answer. Club Penguin musical instrument digital interface. That's MIDI. And someone is accusing him or her of Googling. But yeah, MIDI, the amazing thing about MIDI, it has persisted through until today. You still have musicians, producers using MIDI. I have a couple keyboards in the back that have a MIDI interface. It's surprising how well that has been able to scale on a standard that's almost 40 years old. So a lot of the EDM artists you see today are writing utilizing those MIDI devices. Well, that is all of the quiz questions we have for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we will see Nathan back next time. And join us again next week. We'll see you.